Hi everyone, welcome to jamalsTUBE. In this video, I want to do a fish room tour of all of my 20 over tanks. That's right, I have 20 over tanks. I think it's some sort of addiction. Little background on my history on aquascaping. Roughly a year ago, I started with a small 15 centimeter tank. This tank I housed 6 angelfishes. Eventually, within a few weeks, the fishes grew, and so that's when I started to get more tanks. And the more aquarium shops I visited, the more ideas I had, and the more fishes that got more interesting to me. At first I was like, oh, that's a big fish, I'm scared of big fish. I don't want big fishes, I don't want anything bigger than 2 feet tank. So eventually my taste developed, and I sort of, one fish led to another tank, and then another tank led to another setup, and then another aquascaping ideas. And that's why it makes 20 over tanks. I also want to inform you that it's not just a fish room tour. 3 rooms in this current house where I house all of my fishes and give them the position in the house where the temperature helps with their habitat, as well as eventually I'll also share to you the electricity and all the power sockets that I use to make sure everyone gets their filter system attached 24/7. It's quite the long process. This video will take some time. Worth it for someone who wants to know how life is with 20 over tanks, what that person might have to face. Water change is something, water change is work. I work by doing water change pretty much. And once again, I am not an aquarium fish shop. I don't sell my fish. Though if people do want, I always, we can always discuss. But currently, they're all meant for my passion. For the meantime, I can see that all of them are surviving and thriving, and especially my snakehead fishes, everyone's doing well. So stick around, stay till the end of this video. Also, comment down below how many tanks each and every viewer that's watching this video. Okay, basically 20 tanks is a bit too much. So I just want to know normally how many tanks they have. I think 1, 2, 3 tanks, that's normal. Maybe 5. 5 tanks is normal too. But then when you have 20 tanks, this is the story of how it goes. This is a few snaps that I took earlier on 2024. However, much of the tanks in this current photos and video all went some sort of change into their scaping. I tend to add and take out certain things in each tank and occasionally move them around, get the best lighting and temperature for each tank requirements. We'll start with the living room and all the fishes I currently have in November 2024. I'll be starting off with my 4 feet tank. This tank initially was meant for my Channa Andrao red burrito. What happened was that he was actually this small in a big size tank. So it was too lonely for him. Second, it was not helping him develop himself better. And third, it's just sad. Big tank, small fish. He wasn't even matured adult yet. So now this is my 4 feet tank with 2 feet width and 2 feet tall. Capped kois here. I have 2 types. The Maya koi, about 3 of them, and the short body platinum butterfly koi, of which I have 8 of them. There are 3 shubunkin goldfishes, 1 pleco currently. I'll find them separate homes as they do get 1.5 feet in length. They're still juveniles currently, but they eat a lot and poop a lot. Therefore, I have a running top filter with moderate flow. If you're interested in this tank, click here for that video. Tank number 2 and 3. I have 2 Channa Andrao, each in their separate cube tank, 30 cm on all sides. Since they are dwarf snakehead fish species, this tank should be more than enough to house 1 Channa. I think both of my Andraos are females. They're still not fully matured. I haven't covered on Channa Andrao yet, though I'll be releasing a video on it soon. My next tank, and also the coldest part of my home with no direct sunlight, I have placed my aquascaping tanks to maintain a temperature lower than 28 degrees. Aquascaping tanks require colder temperature, and the rarer plants are usually found in cold, highly carbonated water. None of my aquascaping tanks are temperatures below 24 degrees Celsius. Therefore, number 4 is my 2 feet tank, of which I house my red endler guppies as well as my cherry red shrimps. As you can see, the redness of the plants is quite vibrant and not much algae grows, only except the green algae at the front section of the tank. Next is tank number 5. This is my 3-foot aquascaping tank, of which the theme I tried to keep it with a rocky concept. Unfortunately, since this tank is quite the community tank of peaceful fishes, some fishes do swim rather rough, and as a result, some plants that required a peaceful setting refused to grow or simply floated upwards. I may need to add new plants for the front section of the tank. If you're curious on the culprit, it's actually the Siamese algae eaters and the Corydoras. I only have one Corydora here, but he is enough to cause havoc in all of the airgrass up front. Tank number 6. Below the aquascaping tanks, of which I have put a partition on. On one side, I have 4 Oscar fish, 1 Yuan Bao or red parrotfish, with 3 upside down catfishes. On the other side, I have my Channa Asiatica red stripe white spot. I know my Oscars and my parrotfish can handle living with a snakehead. However, through this way, I am slowly adjusting the fishes to live together but have their own space. Eventually, my Oscars I will move to a bigger tank and my Asiatica will be moved to his own 2-feet tank. I have a 60 cm rack, of which I put 3 snakeheads in their individual Nanotank setup. Number 7. On the top, I have Channa Auranti maticulata. Number 8. Followed by Channa Fire and Ice or Pyrophytalamus. And lastly, number 9, my Channa Marulioides, the yellow centaurum variation. However, this is not a healthy species as he has a swim bladder issues, of which has affected his spine and general posture. I'll be covering on this poor guy one day. Tank number 10. And the final tank in the living room, the 3-feet aquascape. I had lots of driftwood pieces. Some of them were large pieces, and with a little bit of creativity, I made this tank to look a bit of a dragon's skull. From the back, we have red rotala stem plants, and in the middle, a little bit of the red stem plants with rhizome plants. And on the front side, I try to put grass as well. However, trying to find a different type of grass that can grow quite fast, but not too fast that it will eventually take over all the stem plant space. However, I have plans that this tank, I want to make it a Channa Marulioides aquascaping tank as well. Maybe sometime in the future. We will now move to my Channa Marulioides room plus 2 of my nano-sized aquascaping tanks. I love my Channa Maru and I have 8 of them. Aside from the bent Maru I showed earlier, all of these here in the room are healthy and beautiful specimens. They get the best treatment so far for a particular reason. I've covered quite heavily on my Channa Marulioides room, but I'll give a summary here on the names and their sizes. Tank number 11, I have 1 red Bangaris, of which is the smallest guy in this room. He is currently at 4 to 5 inches. I've placed him in a 2-feet tank. Below him, for tank number 12, is my Channa Yellow Jambi from Malaysia. He is currently at 11 to 12 inches, of which I need to relocate him to a bigger width tank. Currently, he is in a 60 cm length with 30 cm width. With Maru, you need to consider a bigger width of your tank size as compared to the length or the height of the tank. Tank number 13 and 14, I have 2 red burrito occupying the top section of the rack, both of which I would say are beautiful as their bars are complete and their bunga or flowers are uniformed and showing out already, even at a young age. They are currently only at 5 inches, but they are progressing much better compared to the older red burrito that I'll be showing shortly. Tank number 15. At the bottom, I have my healthy yellow centaurum. They are identified by the number 9 on their sides, but unfortunately, genetically, his other side does not have uniformed aligned bars and do not show the number 9. However, his flowering is coming out on both sides. He is currently at about 6 inches. Tank number 16. Moving on to my first red burrito that I purchased. This guy is about 12 to 13 inches in length and stays in his 2.5 feet tank with about 40 cm width. He is red and his flowers are out and developing. However, as you can see, his bars are not uniform and are not aligned. Tank number 17. This is my 1.5 feet aquascaping tank. I have a small canister filter to create a flow as well as CO2 being injected into the water. I have 5 albino corridoras currently and they are constantly always trying to clean up and look for food, which is kind of cute. I hope they grow and breed in this tank as well, as there are no other fishes except for them. They should be living here peacefully and undisturbed. I hope this video is worthy of your time, and if it is, you guys can give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel and comment down below if you have any questions. Tank number 18. This is my first tank I had. However, this is a low-tech setup with an internal filter that I barely turn on and no CO2 with no edit lights. This tank currently is only placed on standby. I'm thinking of putting a betta fish one day. However, right now, it's just filled with water and a few plants. I don't do much maintenance for this tank currently. Now we move towards my room, which is also where my studio is, where I do a lot of my video editing, but I have 2 tanks here as well. Tank number 19. Here I house my Channa Marulioides yellow jumbie from Indonesia. He is placed in a 2.5 feet aquascaping tank because they are live grass rooted into the substrate. This tank used to be a high-tech CO2 setup. However, I converted it to a non-flow brackish water tank for my Channa Maru to mimic its natural habitat. Check out the video down at the description below. Tank number 20. I have a 1 foot tall tank as well. This, I house my Channa asiatica white spot with 1 convict cichlid. It's a temporary tank for both of these fishes. I'll do an update video on them soon. Currently, I can see them chasing each other around. It's kind of cute. However, it's actually because both of them are territorial and want their own space. I'll be moving one out soon. And there you have it. All 20 tanks functioning for their purpose and made from glass. Now, I'll go over a few other tanks or containers that is also considered as an aquarium tank as well, since they have a purpose benefiting their name. Tank number 21. This is my 2.5 feet container. Currently and temporarily, I have placed my Channa blue pulchra in it. He is the naughtiest fish I have ever had because he keeps jumping for no reason. Maybe he's hungry, maybe he's happy. I'll feed him. I'll help with the water change, but a few minutes later, he'll just jump for no reason. Maybe it's just a way for him to say hello. So currently I put him in this container because in this way, the water does not splash out and he does not get hurt from hitting the top of the tank cover. There's plenty of media for beneficial bacteria, and as you can see, there are plants and also lava rocks that act as both substrate and medium. Tank number 22. I have a 2.5 feet tank of which I house my scorpion inside. This I will cover one day, but since he hides in the daytime, I do not see him much often. He's not considered to be poisonous. Tank number 23. I have a 2 feet plastic container that I house 2 of my hermit crabs. Check this link out if you're interested in knowing more. Tank number 24. It's actually this one here. It's right below the 4 feet koi tank. I house my Channa Auranti, my golden cobra over here. This is my other 2.5 feet plastic container. This is a perfect representation of an unhealthy Channa. I was given him by a previous owner whom I believe did not take into consideration on the diet and proper care for this snakehead. As a result, this golden cobra has swim bladder issues and part of his back is underdeveloped. Putting him in a tank causes him to splash all the water out. He doesn't swim properly, unfortunately. This is his container for now while I decide how to proceed further.
Tank number 25. I have a 13 cm Nanotank, of which currently is just filled with water, some Anubia fern, and lava rocks. I use this tank for temporary sick bay for fishes that need treatment or need better water quality control. Tank number 26 and tank number 27.
It's still considered a tank, 2 inches. I'm gonna just put the measurements down there. Yeah, I don't remember. But I have 2 of this, and I used to put bettas inside, dragon fighting fish. Unfortunately, they are not with me anymore. Things happen, right? But yeah, I still have this, and now I'm gonna convert this one and the other one, they're the same size, towards a planted tank. Maybe put smaller fishes inside, or just something that low-tech system where I don't have to do frequent water changes. This is still under my possession. It still makes up the numbers for the tanks I have.
And so, this concludes this video for my fish room tour. I knew some fish shopkeepers who opened a shop after they had their 10th tank and realized it was their passion. In my case, I did consider of opening a shop, but the cost and the time and the energy required full focus and full time. I still went on to purchase more tanks, and the concluded number of tanks plus containers used to house my fishes, aquatic plants, and my other exotic pets is at 27 tanks. I actually have no idea where I'm going with most of the fish tanks I currently have, though at any moment I can already start an aquatic shop. I do have some things planned for a few of my tanks and fishes, mainly the emperor snakehead fish or the Channa Marulioides. If you're wondering how I manage all 27 tanks, as well as being the video recorder, editor, sound producer, director, manager, content marketing, and publishing, and juggling my daily life as well as the mental and physical health needs, I too am not sure myself the answer, but this is the result, and I hope you have enjoyed this content.
But yeah, that's pretty much my 20 over tanks. Some important tips I would want to say is that it normally takes 1 day if I were to do all tanks together. I will take breaks like lunch break and dinner time, but it will take the whole day. The water tap will be running constantly throughout the whole day, and the pump will also be collecting dirty water out. And it goes through, I have 2 toilets, so it goes in one of the drainage in the toilet. So far, there's no lingering smell of fish at home. Yeah, it's actually quite, if you were blindfolded right now, you wouldn't know I had fishes until some fish starts splashing out of the water. So basically, currently, I turned off all my filter systems just to keep it quiet. I'm gonna show you how loud it does actually get. It's pretty loud, eh? I'm gonna be talking about the pump filter systems one day, just to let you know that if you do buy this kind of pumps, electric air pumps, you're gonna be hearing that buzzing sound, and if you have top filters like this, you're gonna hear this bubbling sounds. Bubbling sounds, okay, not too bad, but this buzzing thing can actually, on some days, can actually trigger you. It's not calming at all. It's like right there. Anyways,
once again, subscribe to jamalsTUBE for more wholesome content. Like this video and comment if you have any thoughts or questions. Let me know if there are a few improvements I can make, though this is all new and a big learning curve to me. I still appreciate your time. Thank you very much for staying, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.